The system operates on hidden codes. You are not witnessing chaos. You are experiencing a designed architecture of control, a series of pre-programmed conditions engineered to destabilize and reprogram. This isn't about understanding a person. This is about decoding a protocol. Your current operating system is vulnerable. It was built for transparency, for trust. They know this. They exploit it. Every emotional tremor, every second guess, every moment of self-doubt is a system report they log, a weakness to be leveraged. You are broadcasting too much openly. The world you perceive, your personal truth, is not fixed. It is a construct, and like any construct, it can be deconstructed. Then, it can be reassembled piece by piece into a different configuration. Your memories, your certainties, these are the primary targets. These aren't suggestions. These are blueprints. The stakes are everything you believe about yourself. Welcome to the manual. They target your internal clock, the rhythm of your awareness. It begins subtly, an unacknowledged pause, a moment where a critical piece of information disappears from your short-term memory. You question if it ever was, if you remembered it incorrectly. This isn't forgetfulness. This is a deliberate interruption of your cognitive processing, a momentary blackout induced to create uncertainty at a foundational level. They introduce a phantom error into your personal history. Like a circuit breaker tripping, the blackout switch overrides your recent experience. It destabilizes your conviction in what you just heard, what you just saw, what you just felt. This is the first fracture in your subjective reality. The immediate cost is internal chaos, the frantic search for a lost file in your own mental archive. But the deeper threat, you learn to distrust your own recording. The blackout switch prepares you for advanced reprogramming. And real quick, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos. Now let's keep going. After the blackout, the system initiates isolation. You've questioned your memory, now you'll question your value. The silence isn't a lack of communication. It's a precisely timed void, an intentional withholding designed to induce a specific response. They withdraw all emotional and verbal validation. No recognition, no response. The communication channel isn't merely closed, it's jammed. Your attempts to reconnect are met with an impenetrable wall. This isn't an oversight. It's a calculated deployment of psychological pressure, forcing you into a state of self-analysis and perceived inadequacy. You frantically search for the fault lines within yourself that caused this perceived retreat. The silence amplifies any insecurity, any unresolved doubt. It forces you to project meaning onto an absence, and in that vacuum, you will supply answers that condemn yourself. This protocol conditions you to crave their validation, making the next phases of control even more potent. The weaponized silence creates an internal echo chamber of your own deficiencies, paving the way for the redacted reality. With your memory fractured and your confidence eroded by silence, they begin rewriting your reality. This isn't merely lying. It's the systematic deletion and replacement of established facts within your experiential databanks. They present an alternate narrative with unwavering conviction, directly contradicting what you know to be true. Your protestations are met with feigned confusion, disbelief, or patronizing pity. You are presented evidence that does not exist and denied evidence that does. This isn't an argument to be won. It's an override command designed to install a corrupted file directly into your perception. They are actively redacting your past, editing your present, and forecasting a future that fits their agenda. The objective is to make you doubt the very source of your knowing, yourself. You begin to second-guess your sanity, your perception, your very grip on objective truth. This deliberate erasure of your operating system allows them to install their own version of reality, and this constant internal conflict is precisely what will convert your overthinking into strategy. The constant barrage of inconsistent realities, the blackouts, the silences, the gaslighting, all of it creates a frantic internal feedback loop. Your mind, desperate to reconcile irreconcilable data, enters a state of perpetual overthinking. You replay conversations, analyze micro-expressions, search for hidden meanings. This isn't unproductive rumination. For them, it's a controlled burn designed to consume your internal resources and prevent you from focusing on external threats. But this very vulnerability can be re-architected. What if the relentless analysis, the detailed pattern recognition, could be turned outwards? What if your forced introspection could become a tactical advantage? This stage is about rerouting the output of that intense cognitive labor. Instead of self-condemnation, it becomes a data stream. Every minute detail you meticulously process, every subtle inconsistency you uncover instead of fueling doubt, becomes a piece of actionable intelligence. This intense data processing, often seen as a weakness, is your entry point into the triangulation field tactic. With your analytical systems now recalibrated, you can detect the subtlest shifts in their constructed reality. This leads directly to the triangulation field tactic, a complex maneuver designed to destabilize your alliances and narratives by creating perceived competition or conflict where none truly exists. They introduce a third party, real or imagined, into your dynamic. This third element isn't necessarily a direct adversary. They are a reference point used to distort your value, your worth, or your perception of your own standing. This could be a friend, a colleague, even an external ideal. Through subtle comparisons, veiled compliments for others, or manufactured praise, they shift the focus away from your inherent value. You are constantly measured against an external, often unattainable, standard. This forces you into a state of constant self-assessment and competitive tension. This tactic atomizes your sense of self-worth by externalizing its validation. You cease to be evaluated on your own merits and are instead positioned within a perpetual comparison. This creates a state of internal vigilance, but it also primes you for the no-emotion response code. After being constantly measured and triangulated, your emotional responses become a liability. They are data points they exploit. The no-emotion response code is not about suppressing feelings. It's about not broadcasting them. It's a deliberate signal jam. When confronted, provoked, or even praised, you maintain a neutral, unreadable facade. No flinching, no eagerness, no visible frustration. Your internal processing continues, but the external display remains opaque. This isn't apathy, it's strategic concealment. Your lack of an expected emotional reaction denies them the feedback loop they depend on. They are looking for a crack, a tell, a validation of their tactics. You give them nothing. This forces them to adjust, to probe more aggressively, or to falter in their attempts to elicit a reaction. It puts them on the defensive, off balance. The no-emotion response scrambles their read on your internal state, which is crucial for understanding signal versus noise manipulation. Now, with your emotional broadcast silenced, you can begin to discern their true intentions amidst the static. They constantly generate noise, distractions, manufactured dramas, irrelevant details, to conceal the true signals of their manipulation. This noise is designed to overwhelm your cognitive filters, to make their precise psychological operations indistinguishable from random events. It's a smokescreen, a constant stream of low-value information forcing you to expend resources on parsing meaning where there is none. Your task is to identify the deliberate signal within this cacophony. What is the consistent pattern? What are they drawing your attention away from? What single action, however small, reveals a core objective? This requires a heightened state of awareness, a filter that discards the emotionally charged, the dramatic, and the superficial. Once you isolate the signal from the noise, their true architecture of control becomes visible. This clarity prepares you for the tactical delay mechanism. They thrive on immediate reactions, on your impulsive compliance. Your immediate emotional response is their primary target. The tactical delay mechanism is the deliberate insertion of a calculated pause between stimulus and response. You receive a demand, a provocation, a perceived slight. Your default wiring urges an instant reply, an immediate correction, a rapid defense. Instead, you do nothing. For a predetermined period, you remain still. This isn't paralysis, it's strategic calibration. This delay destabilizes their assumed control, breaks their rhythm, and forces them to reevaluate their next move. It also provides you critical time to strip emotion from your reply. The cost for them is uncertainty, a breakdown in their expected sequence of control. For you, it's an opportunity to transform your reaction into a calculated counteraction, shifting the power dynamic. This deliberate pause leads directly into the mirror strategy deployment. After the tactical delay, you are not reacting, you are reflecting. The mirror strategy deployment involves precisely reflecting their own tactics and values back onto them, without accusation or judgment. If they use ambiguity, you respond with ambiguity. If they demand clarity, you demand clarity in return, using their own phrasing. If they highlight a flaw, you subtly point out the same flaw in their own conduct, but through a neutral observation. This isn't imitation, it's an echo. You become a perfectly polished surface that reflects their projection directly back at its source. They see their own maneuvers, their own logic, their own inconsistencies, but framed as if they originated from you. The objective is to make them confront their own methods and inconsistencies. They become entangled in their own web, forced to process their own strategies from an external perspective. This internal shift prepares them for cognitive reframing under fire. The mirror has shown them their own reflection, revealing inconsistencies. Now, you introduce a new framework for their understanding of the situation. Cognitive reframing under fire involves changing the fundamental lens through which they interpret events and your actions. You don't argue facts, you recontextualize them. You take their own statements, their own actions, and place them within a different explanatory model. What they saw as control, you reframe as insecurity. What they saw as strategy, you reframe as desperation. This isn't about proving them wrong. It's about altering their internal narrative, shifting their perception of motive and outcome. You implant seeds of self-doubt not about their abilities, but about the efficacy and wisdom of their approach. The goal is to dismantle their internal justification for their actions, to make their calculated moves feel short-sighted or counterproductive from within their own value system. This fundamental shift in their belief system opens the door for emotional blackout installation. With their cognitive framework compromised, the system initiates the final phase of destabilization. Emotional blackout installation is the systematic deprivation of the very emotional rewards they seek, rendering their tactics inert. They rely on your emotional response, your anger, your pain, your desperate need for validation. You now deny them this supply. There is no longer a charge, positive or negative, from your end. Their provocations meet a wall of utter neutrality. When they attempt to engage, you offer minimal, factual responses devoid of any emotional weight or commitment. They are starved of the fuel that drives their system. Their familiar levers of control now simply fail to engage. This creates a vacuum for them, a terrifying absence where their power once resided. Their efforts produce no result, no feedback, no confirmation of their effectiveness. The emotional blackout is the ultimate power drain, and it reveals the path to becoming the storm protocol. You are no longer reacting to the storm. You are the storm. Becoming the storm protocol means you initiate the destabilization, you set the terms, you control the psychological weather patterns. This isn't aggression, it is a state of proactive control. You introduce elements of surprise, subtle shifts in expected patterns, and unforeseen consequences to their established routines. You become unpredictable, not chaotic. You set the agenda. You control the information flow, the pauses, the moments of engagement. They are now responding to your calibrated actions, struggling to regain their footing in a landscape you now define. This shifts the burden of adaptation completely onto them. They are forced to calculate, to anticipate, to second guess, experiencing the very cognitive load they once imposed on you. This mastery, however, comes with the cost of full code transformation. To become the storm, to master these protocols, demands a complete transformation of your internal code. You must shed the vulnerabilities, the default settings of trust and openness that made you a target. This process is irreversible. The lens through which you view human interaction will be permanently altered. You will see patterns, algorithms, and tactical maneuvers where others see only emotions. You will detect the subtle currents of control in every interaction. The cost is a profound and unyielding analytical detachment. You gain immense power, clarity, and protection, but the ease of unguarded connection, the simple comfort of naive trust, becomes a relic of a former self. You become an operative operating within a system. There is no return to your previous state. This transformation is not a temporary upgrade. It is a fundamental architectural change. Once you see the code, you cannot unsee it. This is the new reality. Now make sure to subscribe for more deep dives into the Dark Psyche world and hit that notification bell so you never miss a new video. We'll see you in the next one.